And I woke up to an email that said, "Congratulations, you are the winner of the audition. Welcome to Crystal Lake." And I remember making a video about it and having to send everything in officially. And just that felt good. Like I felt like my middle finger was the size of like the Empire State Building.
Welcome to the Brutality podcast. My name is Dom, and I just have a few things to shout out before diving into today's episode. First, I wanted to mention that we have a Discord server. If you want to stay up to date with everything podcast related, that is the place to be. But also, if you want to be a part of a community of like-minded people who are looking to just talk about and discover deathcore, whether that be old or new, all that happens over in the Discord server. Also, if you want to help support the show, we now have a Patreon. Some of the perks include early access to episodes, your name in the credits, being the first to know about our upcoming guests, member-only channels in our Discord, and so much more. All of that on Patreon. Also, we have some merch. We have 2 t-shirt designs that we are very excited about. You can go and find those over at indiemerchstore.com. And last but not least, we do these podcast recordings live on Twitch every single Wednesday at 6 p.m. EST. So if you want to be a part of the conversation, if you want to see the unfiltered, unedited versions of these episodes, that is where we do it. So links to all of that down in the description wherever you are watching or listening. That's all I have to plug. Thank you for listening and enjoy this episode. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for taking the time. I know I was kind of looking over what you and the boys have been up to recently. You guys have been doing a lot of touring, and then into some more a lot of touring. So how's the touring been?
Amazing. I love those guys, and the shows have been fantastic. Honestly, it's been some of the best experiences of my entire life, and it's honestly, I feel so lucky to be able to experience it. It's great.
I was kind of looking at specifically at the schedule, and I was kind of noticing you guys were doing a US tour, skip out on the last few dates because you guys went straight back through home to get home to take a plane to 2 days later start a Euro. Yes. Do I have that correct?
Yeah. We just we did that. I went to I think the way that tour started was I rounded off the album vocals in Portland for 7 days, and then I went through that American tour. Then we did a small little set of headliner dates. Then I had 2 days off. Then we went to Europe for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever it was, and now I'm home for 3 weeks. And then I'll be in Japan for 3 weeks. Then I'll be home for a week. Then I'll be in America for 18 days. Then I'll be in Europe for 4 weeks. And then I think I'm home for 3 weeks or 20 days. And then I think I go back to Japan and China. And then I think that I go home. I usually
lose track at that point.
I'm open to doing everything as long as I like to be home from my daughter's birthday and my girl's birthday and Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. And they're all kind of like clumped together within like 40 days of each other. So at the end of the year, during Christmas time and New Year's Eve, and it's not really that much to ask. So.
Yeah. Everyone can take the Christmas off. It's chill.
Yeah. And Christmas is different for both of our cultures. You know what I mean? So it's very nice.
That's cool, man. That's it's kind of cool. And on top of that, you have time to do some podcasts. So it's a crazy life you live.
Yes, you know what I mean? It gives me reasons to come into my studio and sit in peace and quiet.
That's cool, man. Well, dude, man, I've been looking forward to having this conversation with you because I've been following you kind of from afar for a while now, and it's been pretty crazy to to kind of see the glow up, if you will, from the early days of doing some stuff with My Bitter End and Last 10 and stuff like that, to now to see the shows that you're playing with Crystal Lake. It's just like it's so cool to see. I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you.
From following kind of from afar, just I think this is something that I want to kind of touch on throughout this interview. I think you have you want music to be your life, right? Like that's like the calling. That's like the thing you work for. You're very hardworking in that manner to achieve that. And I think there's maybe a through line to be had through a lot of these stories that kind of relate to that, from all the different bands that you've been a part of to the numerous auditions you've done over the years to now landing this current gig. So I'd love to maybe kind of start like early, like how was life growing up for you? What was like, do you have musical parents? What got you into music? Like what's the story there to even get into wanting to do music in the first place?
So I guess growing up I don't want to say it's hard, because when you say hard, people think like really hard, but like it wasn't easy. I kind of had a hard relationship with my mom. I've kind of been moved around a lot against my will. We'll put it that way. So music was kind of always there for me in a way when I felt like I had no one. And, when I was with my dad, I was happy. You know what I mean? But when I wasn't, and I had to go back to her, it was music that really like made me feel comfortable. And I was a huge into bands like Marilyn Manson and Ozzy and Rammstein and stuff. But like, even earlier before that, I guess it was good. It was nice when I was very young, kind of, because you don't really know what's happening. And I watched a lot of movies that had rock and roll in them. And I loved hearing Rocket Man and Dude Looks Like a Lady by Aerosmith and Mrs. Doubtfire when I was a kid. And I used to watch these movies with my dad all the time. And me and my dad used to like play with a sleeping bag type of thing, like almost like peekaboo type thing, like in the sleeping bag. And he used to put on like The Devil Went Down to Georgia, and I used to love that fiddle part. And like I used to dance around the living room and stuff like that. And music was just kind of like always a part of my life. You know what I mean? It was always a reference of happiness. It always had to do with something that made me feel happy. You know what I mean? But music is embedded, I think, hard in my dad's life. He listens to a lot of music, for sure. We watched a lot of rock-esque, movies growing up and stuff, like just things like that. I remember, my dad loves Elvis, so he would watch like the Elvis movies, and I'd watch them with him as a little kid, like stuff like that. Really, crazy. Yeah.
Do you remember if as early as that you already pictured yourself in their shoes, like even as a kid being like, that's going to be me someday? Or does that kind of happen like later in your life?
So I want to say yes, but I didn't understand what that meant. You know what I mean? Okay. I saw this happening and I heard this music and I thought like, that's so cool. I would love to, I want to do that. But like, you don't know what it means yet, so I would say yes. Even as a kid, I wanted to do it, knew I was going to do it. That didn't happen later. And I think knew like I was going to do it is more of like almost like a loose term. Cause, like I knew that they couldn't stop me. That's what it was. It wasn't that I was so talented. It was that like that you couldn't say no to me, and that I would find a way to do it anyway. type of thing. You know what I mean? And then like you just try to get good along the way.
Hopefully.
Fake it till you make it. Yeah.
But I think you do have a point though, because like we keep like a lot of people are gonna see music or even acting or anything that's, you know, bigger than life kind of careers, and they're gonna think like that it's just the talent and stuff like that. Of course it's part of it, but I feel like the biggest difference is people not giving up, right? That's the biggest difference.
Yes, I tell that to people all the time. Like, you know, a lot of huge bands are not huge because they wrote hits. They're hits. They're huge because they didn't stop playing. You know what I mean? That their parents saw them when they were younger. Then they brought their friends. Then they brought their kids. And now you're there with your kids. And it's just now there's 7,000 of us. You know, now we're at a Slayer show. You know what I mean? Now we're at Pantera. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And the thing is, you ask most of those bands, like the biggest artists, biggest bands and stuff like that, and they're all going to tell you that in the beginning, some people laugh at them. So some people probably said that they were bad. Some people said that it was crazy. They wouldn't do it right. Like pretty much all of them, I would even say all of them heard those things. Yeah.
You have to use the negative as motivation. Like I remember when, like, I knew what music sounded like. You know what I mean? I knew what good music sounded like. So like I knew as a kid, if I could scream like this singer who was in this band that was this good, then I would be that good eventually, type of thing. You know what I mean? When I was younger, that's how I felt. So when people would tell me that they thought I was terrible, if they didn't think I was good, like I remember thinking that I don't care. Too bad. You know what I mean? Watch me. You know, watch me. Like, and I feel like I'm even like that today. You know what I mean? Because I consistently replace people's favorite singers, and people hate that.
Dude,
I need a job. Sorry.
No, but dude, we talked about this. I don't know about you, Dom, but I think it's a very interesting topic that interests us a lot. And not to jump too much, but let's be honest. That's I would never in my life even think of being able to do that. So you have every band, all my respect. You know, you did that more than one, like, and doing it more than once is insane to me. Like already once, it's crazy. So.
I think 4 times now I've done that.
Mm-hmm.
Dude. Yeah, because it's kind of unfortunately you cannot do that and just win. I don't know how to explain it, but sure some people are upset. Like no matter what, you would have the world record of the best artist ever in the New York Times, and some people would complain. Like that's kind of
I am super aware of it. Honestly, I still love what I do, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, there's going to be some sort of kink or something there. Something's wrong with you, you know. to keep
people some people love to hate me. It's insane. I don't know why. Maybe I was a dick. I don't know.
No, but
yeah, well,
I'd be curious though to kind of touch on that and elaborate on that a little bit. Like I guess there is something to be said about like. You're replacing these people consistently because, well, A, because you're getting the gig, but B, because because the opportunity's there, right? Like someone's going to get that opportunity regardless. What was it for you to starting to go for audition? Do you remember like the first band you auditioned for? Because I was looking at like old like All Shall Perish and like Abiotic like videos and stuff where they're like auditions earlier than that.
No, I think Abiotic is the beginning of it, and there's a Fit for an Autopsy one on SoundCloud also.
Okay.
Then the All Shall Perish one, which 2 of them I did on my own, and then one I got contacted about and was like, cover this song. So that was actually really cool. I think that's so All Shall Perish. For an Autopsy back in the day, and then one more I'm probably forgetting.
Well, I mean,
Abiotic. Oh, and then the Aegeon one, but I don't think. And then Last 10, and then My Bitter End, and then I filled in for Suffokate for a little bit.
That's insane. That's insane. Just while we're here, insane.
Yeah.
still
I
love
hated
Suffokate.
that.
That's why I'm.
I love that band
wow.
too, but I hated that tour.
It might be different being in it. That's the.
Yeah.
We'll
It was
have,
suffocating.
I want to dig into that at some point.
Sure. I'm an open book, dude. I'm a chill guy.
On Suffokate for a second.
We're gonna have to, because if we don't, I best believe I'm gonna remind you guys.
I've got some timeline questions. I was trying to lay it out through the years.
We need to go back.
We need some answers. But okay. So then I guess the broader question is like, were you trying to make local bands as well? Was it like why the audition route, like, right? Like, because I think most people just don't end up in that audition for bands kind of route generally.
So that's actually an awesome question. So I tried my hardest with starting bands as much as I could, and I was in some local bands that did a little bit for some time, and I just feel like when you're on a local level, sometimes people flake because of the amount of work they realize is coming, not because of the amount of work that they're already doing. So you get people that flake and bands break up, and it was constant. You know what I mean? Like, and then I wound up becoming friends with the guys in My Bitter End, and some of the guys in Through the Eyes of the Dead, and some of their homies, and we started a band called Take It With the Tide, with the drummer of Through the Eyes of the Dead and the guitar player, and that eventually broke up. But through those guys, if bands they knew needed a singer, now they would be like, yo, my homie is a vocalist, check him out. And that seemed like more feasible to me. You know what I mean? Like, I was that made sense to me. I was like, okay, yeah, fuck starting a band. Like, cause this is a pain in the ass. I'll do it myself. You know what I mean? I was like, so you need a singer, I need a band, let's go. So I started filling in for bands. I went from Take It With the Tide into Ender. And then from Ender, I went into, I think, My Bitter End as far as official stuff goes. After that, I tried out for Fit and All Shall Perish. Actually, before My Bitter End, I tried out for Abiotic, actually. And then after the All Shall Perish thing and the My Bitter End thing, I wound up in Last 10. And I wound up in Last 10 because they're going on tour with My Bitter End. And My Bitter End breaks up. And now...
Okay. And they needed a singer.
And I was like, I'm going on that tour. Like, no one is stopping me from going on this tour. And I wasn't even really listening to Last 10 at the time. I just knew who they were. And I was like, give me a song, I'll sing it. And I just listened to Numbskull like 8 times. And I went to the studio, that red studio. I went with Mike Monaco, who later becomes the bass. And he recorded it, and he just pressed play. And I did it like once or twice. And that's it. And I sent it in, and then we kind of rolled from there. Then
just like, I'm doing this, basically.
Yeah. And then I think this all the other stuff starts happening. Like, all the other auditions come into play.
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of like, I don't know, kind of being fed up with trying to find people that don't have like a track record, I guess, already of being serious about doing music, versus like kind of joining something that's already got, they've got songs, they're touring already. There's like at minimum that these people are a little bit serious about doing the band thing, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you want people that have experience in giving a shit. And even though I didn't get those auditions, when I would go audition for another band, the fact that I already auditioned for those other bands was like good enough in a way, and doing the one tour with Last 10 was also really helpful. And then all of a sudden they needed a singer again, and that's when it kind of became a more official thing. And then everything kind of changes. Like, I know they get the whole situation gets a lot of hate for changing the sound and everything with the violent sound, but like, that was written before I was in the band. Like, that album was coming regardless of me. It did get a little out of hand, and that's my fault. You know what I mean? Like we were doing the little black line, and
that's my favorite song off the record.
To
be clear, I fucking
he was
love
whispering
that
it, right? Wyatt was kind of whispering it to me, and I was like, "Yo, check this out!" And I just kind of did it, and we did that through the first verse into the chorus, like straight through. And they stopped it, and they were like, "Yeah." Grant was like, "Yeah, we're gonna do more of that." And we went into like all of the songs, and at one point, I remember we just kind of had to chill out. We were like, "Yo, this is supposed to be a deathcore album, but we've now written a metalcore album." Sorry. We had too much fun.
You guys kind of quote unquote, toned it back on the follow up though. Afterwards, I feel like it went back to being a bit heavier.
It's like catch up.
Like it wasn't heavy before, right? Like it's just there was more like singing, that kind of singing on it.
It felt like playing catch up until we did the self-title. And then we all quit. And then,
yeah.
And then I love the new guys in that band. So I don't have any hate towards that band.
Yeah, because like you bring up a really good point, by the way. Like people just instantly assume if there's a new vocalist that he's or she is responsible for the entire new direction of a bit. Like it's him. Like, like that's he did that to the bit, but like they forget that it's an entire band. Like they're making music together. It's not just like a person who's like, we're doing that now, So
yeah. Like even with Crystal Lake, to be fair, Denial and Rebirth was written before I was there. That was happening without me. You know what I mean? Like that was come. So.
And I'm sure some people are still like he changed. He did that.
Hate me. I don't.
Just a quick second to talk about the sponsor of today's episode, Indie Merch Store. Whitechapel has announced the Rituals of Hate Tour 2025 alongside Body Snatcher, Angel Maker, and Disembodied Tyrant. Tickets are on sale right now, and you can snag merch from all 4 of the bands, including the brand new Whitechapel album, over at indiemerchstore.com. Also, Lorna Shore has recently announced their upcoming album, I Feel the Everblack Festering Within Me, and have pre-order items like vinyls, CDs, and a long sleeve design, also at indiemerchstore.com. They've got an upcoming tour with the Black Dahlia Murder, Shadow of Intent, and Peeling Flesh, which also all have merch for sale on the website. As always, you can use code BRUTALITY at checkout to save 10% off your entire order. Again, that's BRUTALITY at checkout for 10% off your entire order. A big thank you to Indie Merch Store for sponsoring the show. Brutality Podcast is currently sponsoring not one, but 2 tours right now. The first of which is the Self-Help Others Harm Tour featuring Thus Spoke Zarathustra. It's their album release tour, and they're doing a full US and bringing along a bunch of awesome revival bands. So we've got In Which Divides Us, Lilith's Demise, Slamwich, Mauled, Surfaced, Brain Injury Unit, Houses We Die In, and Delilah. They're all doing regional support slots. So if you hit the link in the description, there will be all the info about who is playing where, ticket links, and all of that. The second tour is the Bring Back the Brutal Tour 2025, featuring our homies in Peacemaker and I Saw God. They're doing a mostly south of the US tour, going coast to coast. So they've got dates in California, Texas, Arizona, Nevada, Arkansas, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, and of course, Florida. Same thing here. There's a link in the description for all the tour dates and all of the details. How was it though? Kind of, because then it does kind of also change the dynamic of just, performing songs versus writing, right? Like writing lyrics and writing patterns and parts. Yes. When you're getting into Last 10, it had probably been a minute, right? Since actually writing some music.
So you mean like from going from Last 10 to Crystal Lake?
No, going into Last 10.
Oh, so when going up into Last 10, even though I wasn't physically in an active band, I was constantly trying to start something. If
Okay.
like at that time I was working like at Safe Light or some ridiculous job, you know what I mean? And I was just straight up writing with as many people as I can, messaging people who are, you know, do you need to want to play drums? Do you want to play guitar in this band? Like constantly writing, constantly having, you know, being with my phone, writing lyrics and stuff, always doing some sort of like to my phone and recording. It was all the time. So I even at one point I even was jamming with these dudes from India called Kashai Kramasha, and I did vocals over that. And that shit to this day still holds up. Super, super sick. I just don't think like we can make that happen, unfortunately, but really good stuff. You know, like and I work. I want it. You know what I mean? Like I really want it. You know, and the more people say I can't have it, the more I want to show you that it's mine.
Do you remember? First of all, it's a good mindset, by the way. The one that's the mindset you need in order to do it. You know, I've been watching tons of like. It's important. It's really important, you know, because to some people, they're going to tell you it's delusional. The way I see it, it's necessary in order to make it. You need that in order to make it. So
yeah, you need to be. So like talent is fantastic, but being obsessed with something is what's going to work. Like I said in the beginning, like I wasn't, you know what I mean? I don't like to think of myself as naturally talented. You know, I like to think of myself as a constant work in progress, and I'm always practicing and working harder. And, you know, with that idea, it's just the fact that when one person told me no, I didn't stop. I moved on to the next one and I kept moving. Like you said, no. Okay. So this one and this one and this one and this one. And it was constant. You know, I wanted it. Like I said, a lot of people want to flake because they see the work ahead. And I had a problem with people working enough along with me so that we could make it happen. You know what I mean? And that's how you just like struggle. And that's how you kind of fall into the thing of being like, I'll go on my own, you know?
Yeah.
I'll just find bands that need somebody, like, because how long can I do this? Like, you know.
I can tell that at that point, when with the last 10 seconds and stuff, like it was clear to you, you know, you're working a job. It's like, that's what I'm doing in life. But do you remember, and it might be like a very specific question, but do you remember the moment that you were like, I'm doing this? Because we kind of went from you as a kid, just like, I mean, you love the idea, and then we're at 10 seconds. But I'm just wondering if you can recall, like, I'm doing this. I don't care. I don't know if it was a band, a movie, anything, but do you remember?
So many different times, really. I guess to put a point in it, it would be in 2010. That's when Take 'Em With the Tide was started, with the guys from 3000 Dead and My Bitter End. And that's when it went from me just kind of like dicking around as a kid and wanting it to being like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? And you could probably still find that stuff on YouTube. It was a bummer when it broke up. But you know, I immediately went into I wound up in that New Jersey band Ender for a little bit after that. You know, just kept moving. And, you know, then you will go into another band. Then you wind up in maybe an internet band, or you wind up, you know, working with, I was in a band called Torment the Dreamer from Connecticut for a little bit, you know. And it just everywhere. I remember this one venue called the Championship Bar in New Jersey.
I know just the one.
Yo, and I have played there with so many different bands.
Foot off the ground. Yeah, fuck that.
Yes, I played there with so many different bands that the promoter is always like, aren't you just gonna like join a band? Like you're always here with a different band, and I'm just like, everybody sucks, dude. No one keeps it together, man. Like I don't know, no one wants to fucking work.
But you're the dream, like now that we're talking about it though, like we're talking from your experience and stuff like that, but to a band, that's the ideal candidate though. Like picture a band who looks for something. That's the most difficult thing to find, isn't it? Like someone who's in for... right?
I mean, yeah, I mean, most people, I think when we were in Last 10 and we needed members, like let's say after Christian left the band and we needed a drummer, or after Anthony left the band and we needed a bass player, you try to think of these things of like, what kind of person do I need to do this? It's someone that you can trust, that isn't, you know, run away and do heroin right away. At least it'll take a little bit. You know, things like this. You know what I mean? So like, you just got to think of like the type of people. It's got to be like-minded people you get along with, people that want it, and you can just kind of sense it in a person. You know what I mean? When you want to jam with someone, you be like, oh, let's jam. And then you're talking to them and, you're hanging out and you realize like this person understands what's happening. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you hang out with them and they're like, oh, this person's favorite band is Five Finger Death Punch. You know what I mean? Like, so like, it's things like, you know what I mean? There's pros and cons to everybody.
Yeah, it's, I mean, again, it goes back to, talent not being everything, right? You can, a lot of people in bands that are just like, cause that's just the thing that they're about, right? Whether it be being super into the instrument, but more so like, being on the road, like all together, right? Like wanting to do that, wanting to not have jobs between tours, wanting to have to put all your fucking money into this thing that you have no guarantee of having any return on. Like you gotta want that. You don't kind of just fall into that by accident and like, this is great.
My friend Jonathan, to this day, remembers the conversation we had when we were in like a mall parking lot or something like that. And I remember telling him like, yo, I really want to do this, dude. Like, I will be homeless on purpose. It's okay. And he was like, I really don't want to do that. And I was like, I really do. Like,
take my house away.
Take my comfort. You know what I mean? And, I think everyone should have just the mindset of working hard and doing it. I think the idea of it will be handed to you isn't for everybody. Maybe it will be handed to you. Maybe it'll make something sick and everyone will love it. But work hard for it. It's a lot of fun. You know what I mean? It feels good when it's yours.
Let's be honest also, like it could, but it also comes with other things, right? Because if tomorrow and you never did the work and it's just like let's say you do a video and it works like TikTok, whatever, and it blows up, you need to be able to deliver at that point. You're still going to have to be on the road. You're still going to have to pull up the work and everything. So it might seem cool, but then you need to be that person and that artist. So that there's that as well, right?
Learning to be professional can be a long road. Maybe it's not. Maybe you're already professional. You know what I mean? It depends on the person, So, I mean, I enjoyed working hard. I'm happy of the long road that I've gone through and where I am and stuff. I worked hard to keep a roof over my family's head. You know what I mean? I try not to look at it like this is my dream and it's so sick and look how cool it is. Like, I love it and I respect it and I'm so happy to do it. But this is how I provide for myself and my family. And, if you hate me or you love me, that's great. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here to give the best job I possibly can. And as much as I love it, it is still a job and it can still be really hard for lots of people. Like, and the road is a difficult time. And, you can feel weird sometimes coming home. If you've ever done a really long tour, sometimes you can, like, you guys see all the touring we do. Sometimes I come home and like, it's weird to be in my house. You know what I mean? Like, you almost feel like disassociated from everything, You cry a lot.
I mean, look, post-tour depression is a thing, right? Like people don't, I think people on the outside, unless you've really done it, you can't really like understand that like weirdness of being in this out of the regular world groove for so long, and the responsibilities being so different, and not having a home for so long, and being on the go nonstop, to having the thrill of the show every night, that adrenaline, like all that stuff, and then to come back home and none of that's there. Like,
Yeah, like
going
when
back,
I
like
was
for me, it was stupid stuff like talking French again, because it's just or the weird words we would say on tour to each other that are gibberish, but we would have an inside joke about it for 5 weeks, and then
that is
you get back home and it's like, whoa,
yes.
I can't say that anymore. It's
yes,
it's fucking
yes.
weird.
There are so many things for me. I like, my girlfriend is a very organized person, so I have to make sure that I put everything back where I found it. It's a little bit hard sometimes.
Okay.
I try, you know what I mean? Like, I try. I really do. I am definitely the annoying guy leaving a sign on the heater when it's like 4 degrees outside. Like, please don't turn this off in the middle of the night when you get hot. Please turn it down. Like, because it's cold, dude. Like, I get it. Okay, it was hot. He was sitting in front of it. Turn it down. Don't turn it off. Like, psychos. Like,
yeah.
Can you talk to us about a bit of the touring you did with My Bitter End? That was some of the first touring you did, right?
Yeah, some of the most official touring I did was with My Bitter End, and I to this day love those guys. They are some of my best friends to this day, and I love them. And we had a lot of fun. I did maybe 2 or 3 with them. Lots of regional 5-day things, and then we did like a large one with Float Face Down, and I think that was the actual last tour I did with them. But we had so much fun. We used to party like a lot. It was crazy. I remember chasing a goat because we thought it needed our help. I remember swimming in like alligator infested waters because we were just like taking things we shouldn't be taking and just not paying attention and just jumping in the water in this river in North Carolina. We're just in North Carolina, we're just jumping in the water in North Carolina. We're like, yeah, fuck it. Like, and we're in the lagoon, bite me. It's fine. It's cool. We were down in there.
You're here to tell the tale, so there's something to it, but goddamn.
Dude, we were just kind of like a rolling circus, to be totally honest with you. Like, oh my God, I'm like afraid to even talk about all the ridiculous things that we were doing. Like, it's insane. I have pictures of like maybe 15 bottles of liquor where they're just pounding this shit. Like, we're drinking, smoking ton and ton of weed. Lots of weed. There are pictures of me sitting on the edge of couches like this. Like, we were just goons. Literally, we were just goons, and we would come through and wreck house, and it was sick for a little bit, and then it just kind of fizzled out, and we just couldn't hold it together financially, really. And by the time that tour was over, Mike was really, really, really just worn out holding it together. And when people started saying that they weren't, motivated anymore, it kind of unmotivated anybody. And I kind of got like really, I was bummed out because My Bitter End is my all-time favorite band growing up. Like, I listened to The Renovation religiously as a kid, constantly, all the time, like on repeat. Tyler Guida is a major, major influence in my writing, in my vocals. To this day, you will find My Bitter End lyrics in my lyrics because I would like just love them that much, and I'll just be like, I love this part, like, and I put it in there because that's my family. You know what I mean? Like, I am My Bitter End. You know what I mean? Like, I wound up joining that band, and like, even though I was not, even though I replaced the singer, is what I'm trying to say. Like, that's Tyler's still my dude. You know what I mean? I love that dude. I have a My Bitter End tattoo cover my arm. Like, Mike has it all over his leg. These dudes are my family. Like, we just did a reunion last year. Like, I talk to Mike constantly. You know what I mean? And I feel like we'll always be My Bitter End, even if we don't play music. That's the kind of
That's what
people
I
it
thought
is.
was. That's what I thought was cool. Seeing the footage back from the reunion stuff was seeing both of you up on stage, right?
Yeah,
It was like a
Tyler
cool,
drunk as hell yelling at me because I'm singing too much. It's so funny.
He's like kissing you on the forehead, and
He's the best. He's a mutant, dude. That is Master Splinter. Are you kidding me? I love it, dude. Let's go. One time, I don't mean to talk about it, but like most of my favorite stories about him. One time we were asking him what his superpower would be, and he'd be like, to creep on people's cocaine from like 16 yards away. If they're like able to see it and be like, and just like take it from him. And I was like, yeah. I was like, that's amazing. He was super drunk. I love the dude, man. I love it. This was like 12, 15 years ago at this point now. Like,
mm-hmm. That's fucking crazy, man.
All right. So we've got, okay, so my bitter end, okay, the last 10 seconds, like, because we love going kind of in the, you know, story mode of your life, like,
yeah,
that's
we're
cool.
really
So
kind of going all over the place. Yeah.
No, but it's fun. No, it's super fun. But I'm kind of curious to know what would be next, because I'm not sure about the year that, you know, after.
So this is 2013 with My Bitter End, and then the next thing directly after My Bitter End is going to be Last 10, but it's only for one tour. I do one tour with them. Anthony hates where I put my underwear, and they hate me, so they don't keep me, and I don't go on the next tour. So I winded up doing a tour with Suffokate after that.
Okay, we got to talk about it. We got to talk about it.
Specific though. The underwear, sorry.
I'm a very abrasive person. I'm from Staten Island and Brooklyn. My family's all from Brooklyn. I'm Italian, and I'm making excuses, but like sometimes I was doing things that I didn't realize I was doing. And coming from My Bitter End, I was just a wild animal. You know what I mean? Like I might as well have been like a stray dog, like at that point, because I swear to God, like we were psychopaths in that band. You don't understand, you know. And you know, when I did that first tour with My Bitter End, I was probably, I'm sorry, not My Bitter End. I did the first tour with Last 10. I was probably a little too My Bitter End. Like I remember one night I woke up drunk as a bitch and I couldn't find my shoes, so I put on Christian shoes just because I took a shit. And when I got back to the van, he was like so angry because he needed his shoes to go to the bathroom. And I was like, why don't you just grab what other ones are there and put them on? He was like, they weren't my shoes. And I was like, who cares, dude? Like, I'm sorry, you know. And they were like things like that. I would do shit like that, you know. And I would also I would wind up on the phone mad loud or something ridiculous like that, fighting with my girl or some bullshit, like, you know.
So you were used to a certain way of doing things with My Bitter. It was kind of second nature to you to just like hang around, taking it easy in terms of just like, oh,
doing
that's
whatever
funny,
I
it's
want.
fine. Like,
yeah,
just kind of, and everybody was on the same page, right? So like,
yes.
It kind of, from my understanding, it just like didn't translate when you
yes, I didn't like have this idea in my head that like they were going to be different. I was like, we're on tour, motherfucker, let's go. Like, you know what I mean? And
let's chase a goat and jump to alligators.
You know what I mean? Like I was ripping, and that tour I actually learned to like drink less. That was where that's the actual tour where I stopped drinking on tour for the most part. You know what I mean? Like, because My Bitter End used to drink a lot and smoke all the time and just not care and go on stage and just do it. And then that tour with Last 10, I got sick, so I like stopped drinking one night, and that was just kind of it. My body was like, "No, we can't go back now. You have to stop."
You play one show sober, and you kind of realize, "Hey, wait a second."
No, I played like 7, 8, 10 shows sober, and then like not drinking at all. And then when I finally felt better, I got drunk and I tried to sing, and my voice was like, "We're not doing that." You know what I mean? And that's when I realized, like, oh shit, fuck. Okay, I guess I can't drink anymore.
Buddy talking to you.
Yeah, that progresses a way more extreme now, but we can get there.
Okay. So I just want to paint the picture of like Suffokate. They have their vocalist. There's the whole disappearing on tour incident that happens. They ditch him. They find a new singer. They release a song, but then the next tour, it's not that guy. It's you.
So that's actually kind of reversed. The singer where the guy disappears, that's the guy where they release like a song. And it's like a regular looking white dude, basically.
Yeah.
And then he goes on tour to Canada. Yeah, and then he just disappears in Canada. And then once that happens, I am not rehired for Last 10, and I'm looking for a band to join. And I think it was Dan DeFonce told me that Suffokate needed, because I worked with him on My Bitter End and Last 10. And he told me that Suffokate needed somebody to fill in for 60 days, 64 days or something like that. It was 2 tours back to back. And I was like, okay, I love that band. That's sick. So I flew out to California on my own money. Like when I landed, Lars picks me up in his car, right? And he's with me and one of the bass player who used to play for Here Comes the Kraken. I think his name is Alex. And then they also picked me up with the old guitar player of Phineas, like way back in the day. And we get in the car and I asked them, where's the van? Because I land with Jared, actually, my friend. And I asked them where the van is. And Jared, once upon a time, played for Lorna Shore back in the day, like way back in the day. So he comes with me to California and we land and we're like, where's the van? We're all cramming in this car. And he's like, oh, there is no van yet. Tours in like 5 days. Okay. And that just continues to be a crazy shit show of playing shows deep in the hood where people are doing burnouts and rock parking lots at 3 a.m, breaking our windows. And then we drive through Southern California, Arizona, and New Mexico, and into Texas without windows on the left side of the van because of this, which was sick. We did 64 days in that van with no trailer and 1 bench, and it's a 12-passenger van. This is not a 15-passenger van. There was 5 of us in there, and one of us was very, very, very large, very overweight guy. Good dude, but just like 400-pound guy.
So six dudes, let's call it that.
No, it was 5. It was 5 for sure. 100% 5.
Yeah.
And then Jared goes home because he's like, this is ass. You know what I mean? Because it was ass, and I wanted to go home super bad. And Dan is like, please do this. I know you for a while. You're my boy. Like, I need you to do this. This is a lot into this, setting this tour up for this band. He's like, oh, well, your favorite type shit. I was like,
yes, you do.
And this is way back in the day. Like, nobody is nobody. Like, you know what I mean? This is when Dan is first starting out. Like, I know Dan is a really good name now. And I love Dan still. He works for Crystal Lake now. I love Dan DeFonce. But at the time, we're all making our bones still. And so I do the tour. Jared goes home. And that tour was terrible. I can talk shit about it. I can sit here and talk bad things about that tour all day. I don't really want to do that to them. But it was not fun. And it sucked. For sure. Sorry. Music was fun, kind of. But it was crazy to do. And
okay, so...
The conditions basically were suck, it's not necessarily a band. It's just
it's
sucks.
hard to enjoy everything else, I guess, because I was going to ask about, even because some of those songs that you guys were playing were fucking, iconic fucking deathcore songs. Oh, yeah. It's an iconic band to begin with, right? Like, so but I guess it was probably hard to even find enjoyment in playing the songs live if everything else was a dumpster fire that way, right?
Yeah, it was more luxurious in My Bitter End than we were peeing in cups. We were pissing out the window. We had a bus. They're sticking their dicks out the window like this, peeing, holding onto the edge. It was worse than that. Like,
Yeah, that's
I mean,
not
look,
good.
you didn't have to roll down the window on this tour to pee out the window, so there's
it
that.
was rough. It was super rough. So, after those 2 tours of Suffokate, then I do the Fit for an Autopsy audition. After that, this is before Joe, and I think they've already selected. I think in their minds they already want Joe, and they're just like, "Fuck it, show me what you got." I think that was the mindset. I never really directly spoke much. I spoke to Will for like 2 seconds. He asked me if I liked a certain band. I told him yes, and he asked me to cover these 2 songs, and I was like, "Okay." That's literally how that went. And but afterwards, I heard that like they had already somebody in place. He was just like, "Let's see." So after that, I don't get it. And then from there, I randomly cover the 2 All Shall Perish songs, Eradication and Divine Illusion. And after I cover those, I'm not sure if somebody told Mike Tyner or if he just heard them. But a couple of days later, I get a message from Mike Tyner, who used to be a part of All Shall Perish, and he asked me if I wanted to audition, and sends me, I think, "This Is Nothing" or whatever that other song is. I forget.
Yeah.
And then,
which has got some singing on it. I do want to kind of like commend that real quick because there's like, it's one thing I think, I don't know, we're talking about like Suffokate and bands like that, and it highs and lows, right? It's sure there's like a particular like tone and style or whatever, but largely it's a deathcore thing. It's a deathcore type of vocal, and that's it. But you've always kind of had, I was listening to the audition for the All Shall Perish one, and I was like, wait, like there's like some good singing in here, right? And that kind of like transcends into everything afterwards. We talked about Last 10 for a bit, and then we'll get into Crystal Lake, but like the very few people have like those 2 things going, like the super deathcore thing, but can actually fucking sing, and not sing in like I don't know how to say it, not like Oh, there's like it's like a manly sing. I don't know how else to put it.
Thank you.
But it's like an aggressive singing. I love that shit. Like that to me, if there's gonna be singing in metal, that's my shit. Like that's how it's gotta be. So I don't know.
Dave Grohl, dog. That's what I love.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. There's like not many people that do it. So
it comes from My Bitter End, because Tyler, if you listen to the Renovation, Tyler Guida's singing parts are not like, they're not like emo-esque, you know what I mean, for the time, even though it's like 2005, like it is very rockish, you know what I mean, like and I had to emulate that joining the band, and writing the Fear, and and singing on Raising Glass for them. So that is kind of always something that I'm constantly working on. I'm always working on my clean singing, because I always felt like if I could, like, all right, I can be heavy. I understand where I'm going with heavy. I can continue to work on heavy. I understand how to do this and continue my path. But like my singing was constantly struggling, and I just wanted to be, you know what I mean? I wanted to do everything. And although All Shall Perish was definitely one of the bands that allowed me to do a little bit of that. I also, around that time, I do and that was the singing to Darkest Hour and singing to Sepultura really helped me highlight what I did in the Violent Sound. And that whole Last 10 situation kind of abruptly happens as the All Shall Perish thing is kind of fizzling off, because they wind up switching out all the members and all that. I get a message from Last 10 being like, "Hey, we need a singer again on this Carnifex tour." Now it's like, it's after Soulless Hymns has been out, so I think it's 2015 at this point.
Yeah.
And I tell them, yeah. I'm like, let's go. Hell yeah. I won't hang my underwear in that spot again. And like Wyatt left, and he was like, I don't care where you put them. He's like, I'm not going on the tour. My father's really sick, so I can't go. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So I go on the tour. While I'm on the tour, a word breaks out unofficially, and then winds up being officially that Storm has left the band. I would tell that story, but it involves someone's family, and I respect that, and I won't bring that up. But basically, two best friends had a really serious falling out over moral support and over business support. And when that happened, the person with the control of the situation decided that they were going to separate themselves from our singer.
Yeah.
So that's how I wound up involved. I'm not officially a part of the band at this point. Because again, Anthony and Christian are like, oh my God, bro, this guy is an animal. Like, you know what I mean? If we put him in this band, it's going to be so annoying. Like, he's out of his mind. And then they were just hating on my voice too.
But I don't know about full time. Yeah.
Yeah. But they were also hating on my voice just to start. So they did an audition. And Wyatt was like, I hope you're not offended by that. We're just going to do it. You know what I mean? But my vote is for you. And I was like, no, this is actually a great thing because you're going to make people notice this band. And then I'm going to come through and just like kind of shit. So I did an audition. I did two of them. I did what they asked for in the audition. And they actually did consider somebody else. And you know what I mean? But after meeting with that person in person, the vibe was more towards me because they had already worked with me. So, you know, Wyatt made the call, so to speak.
You. Jesus.
It was fucking Wyatt made the call and made me the singer of the band. I'm in the studio and then we start recording the Violet Sound. And I think the first song I demo with Wyatt is Bloodlust. And then after that, I think we demo Little Black Line, but again, it was whispering. And then I had the idea randomly because I used to listen to it on repeat. I had the idea randomly to like sing it like Marilyn Manson because I was listening to a lot of Manson at the time. And I love Manson as is. So I was like, okay, let me just do this. I'm just going to do what I want. You know what I mean? And then if they tell me they don't like it, I'll do what I know they want me to do, but I want to do this. And then, like I said before, he liked it and we rolled with it. After Violent Sound, we do 3 albums together. Touring on that time was some of the greatest time of my life. You know, made me who I am. And, you know, I love Mike Monaco to this day. I talk to him now. I work with him now. You know what I mean? He's toured with Crystal Lake and crew. One of my best friends. You know, and I still consider Steven Sanchez one of my really, really, really close friends. And he's an angel maker now.
Yes, sir.
You know, Steven is the man. I remember Steven with short hair and no tattoos. You know what I mean? I love Steven. He was super fun. We used to, you know what I mean? We used to do our thing and have a great time. You know?
He actually asked me to ask you what your thoughts are about planting in the green room.
Yo, I was just going to say, we used to plant together. Planting. So planting in the green room is my way, like back in the day, because you didn't have any comfy space. Like, so when you got into a green room, you wanted to feel comfortable. So like I rolled deep when I was in the van. I had all sorts of stuff. I had a table and a chair and a rug and a rack for my clothes and a fan and a little pad for my table, for my dab rig and slippers. You know what I mean? And like all sorts of shit to chill. And I used to take the furniture with Steven in the green room. We used to move it around and people used to be, what you doing? And I'm be like, I'm playing, you know, like this just became like planting, like, and we used to just like plant in a place and it used to be hours. Like you'd come into a green room. I would have rearranged it so that I was more comfortable, you know? And again, I would take my shoes off and like be in the slippers on my rug. Like I had like a little space that was mine, you know? And
you made yourself at home, literally.
yeah. I did the same thing in the van. I made a little bed for myself. I had like a fur blanket and everything. I was luxurious in that motherfucker. It was sick. Van life was comfortable for me. I made it work for sure. I had a lot of fun with Steven. I had a lot of fun with Mike. I didn't have a lot of fun with Wyatt.
Mm-hmm.
We're just not friends. Some people don't vibe.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're just
no, I'll let you finish. Sorry.
I was just some people don't vibe, and that's that. You know what I mean? I don't hate any of the guys that replaced any of us, but it got to a point where one day everyone was like, I can't do this anymore. It was too much. I don't think anything is going on wrong with them now. I think everyone has a good time now. This is just my experience. I think everyone is having a blast now. I think it's totally different in that camp now. But just us as people, it doesn't mean that one person is bad. It was just the combination of us together. We didn't like each other.
Personalities and
personalities are just different. It doesn't mean that he's bad or I'm bad. It's just we just didn't like each other. And it wasn't just me that he didn't, that had a problem with him. Like everybody else had an issue too, and for different reasons. And it just came to a head one day for everyone, and we were like, okay. And I just had the right people in my life at the time to strong enough to walk away from that, because I was scared, because I loved what I did. And I loved the fans, even though some of them hated me. I loved it anyway. I loved touring in that band. I loved all that music. I didn't leave that band because I hated anything that was going on with them. You know what I mean? Musically, I needed peace. That was my specific reason. So,
yeah, because you guys were doing some pretty crazy touring near the end of your time.
Yeah, at the end it was really kicking.
Born of Osiris, like you guys were doing big tours.
Yeah, it was really kicking at the end. This one right here is with Black Dahlia above me. Like,
yeah, that's
like this was doing it. And sometimes you got to be more important. You know what I mean? And I believed in myself, and luckily the people around me made me feel like you could do it. You know what I mean? Like, you're not tied to this. You can do it. Like, you
right. Like, it's not the end. It's not like I get it though. There's like a sense of like you're currently doing the biggest things you've done in music. Yeah. It's like a hard thing to step away from, right?
I knew that it meant going home, but that was great. I know I talked a lot about being obsessed with music and how obsession is what gets it done. Leaving Last 10 made me learn so much about who am I really. You know what I mean? Like, there's me on stage, and then there's me on tour, and then there's me in between tour. But like, which one of those is me? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sitting in my living room one day, and I'm like playing with my cat on the floor, and I just realized, kind of just hit me like that. This is me here right now. My cat in my house on my couch watching TV, relaxing. This is John. What I do with my band is what I do for work. That's a switch that I flip to make money. And even though I let the real animal out on stage, I'm not that person all the time. And I was living in that person. I was the angry fuck constantly. That's where hate church and all that becomes too much of my personality. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you're living as this idea constantly, because you're constantly trying to add to it. You have to bring it home to think about it, to bring it back. Like, so I just kind of snapped out of it and was like, I want to care about me. I want to focus on me. I looked at the people that I looked up to, and I tried to focus on things that made me happy. And I was actually thinking about, like, maybe I'm not going to be a singer anymore. And all of a sudden 8 months roll around, and now it's September or October, and randomly Crystal Lake needs a singer. And at first, I think my friend sent it to me or I saw it. At first, I was like, oh, this is sick. Because back in the day when I was in Last 10, I remember being at a Crystal Lake show and be like, I hope this motherfucker quits this band. I will take this job so fucking fast. Like, I swear to God. I remember talking mad shit and saying that and being like, yo, I will so sing for this fucking band. Like, and like a year and a half went by, I think. So when they needed a singer, I thought about that, but I was like, yeah, no, I don't think I'm gonna do it. And then I woke up one morning.
Manifested it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of woke up one morning and was looking at my phone and like this motivational speaker, I forget his last name. His name is like Gary something. He curses a lot. I don't know how politically correct he is. So I don't want everyone to hate him. I don't know. But I used to see like certain videos that made me feel like the video made me feel like I had something that was good. And if I have something that's good, I shouldn't try to run from it. I should try to use it instead of pretending that I should do something else. And regardless of how much of a dickhead that guy is or whatever it is, that video made me feel that way. And at that moment in the morning, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I read all the stipulations and it was like, you must know Japanese. And I was like, I don't know Japanese. I'll learn Japanese later. This is not college. This is a rock band. So I'll figure that out later. So which was something a lot of people didn't do. A lot of people tell me, they're like, oh yeah, I didn't know Japanese. So I figured I wouldn't do it. And I was like, I didn't even pay attention to that. I was like, yeah, whatever. We'll figure that out later. Like,
I'll use a translator.
I was like, Google is sick, dude. I was like, I'll figure it out. And that's a whole different battle though. Anyway, and then I just go through the audition process. And the only part of it that I was exponentially confident in was that after the first video, I knew they were going to answer me. And whether they were going to tell me, they're not interested or not, I knew I was going to get a response of some nature. I wasn't sending it in like, oh, I hope I hear from them. Like I made sure of it. I reached out to them in ways of my own. I used the industry to reach out to them in ways that I possibly knew how. So when I sent the audition and I was like, let's see what happens with this. So after video 1, they say they like it and they want to call me at 3 a.m. in 2 weeks for me to sing that song live for them and Eon. And I'm like, okay, sick, 2 a.m. That's awesome. Fucking, I'm like, great, let's do this. Practice the tits off of those songs. Come 3 a.m. At this point, I have a roommate living with me. He's now the driver for like Born of Osiris and stuff like that, and for Suffocation. And he's doing merch for Born of Osiris right now. Nick is the man. Tour driver Nick, if you need a driver, he's the man. Mike Metalcore, if you need a driver too. I can't shout at everybody. Sorry.
No, we're here for that at the same time. We love the shout outs.
And they call me, and beforehand, I remember being at a Lorna show and talking to Will and talking to Johnny from prison and telling them about the audition and the whole situation. And they were just like, I think you're gonna get that shit, dude. And I remember explaining how I was worried about singing for them because at the time I didn't have any sort of official setup. And I was like, they're going to call me on Spike and I'm on Skype and I'm going to be like, okay. And I'm going to hold my phone up and be like, are you ready? And I'm going to start screaming into a speaker is what's going to happen. And I remember Metalcore being like, I don't think you should do that. I don't think you should do that. That sounds like a really bad idea. And I kind of remember telling him like, this is it. You know what I mean? Like, no one's going to tell me I can't do this and I'm going to figure this out. So, and that's what I did, actually. I think I have it right here. I went and I bought this speaker at Best Buy for like a $98 or some trash. And I would set it up in my bathroom on the towel rack. Yeah. And just straight up just had a microphone in my hand and was just ripping into the songs. And when they called me at 3 a.m, it felt like I was on tour, like I was super tired. So I was kind of used to being exhausted like that. It didn't feel like fuck like it might have from maybe somebody else anyway. But when they called me, And I was talking to them with like, hey, is that microphone plugged into that thing? And I was like, no. I'm just gonna rip it. And they're like, okay. And then they fucking
Wow.
loved it, and it was great. And they were super stoked. We did two songs together.
I want to linger on that just a second because I was watching some of the footage back. I mean, there was like a translator for you, right? Is that how it kind of like worked?
At the time, it did. Yeah, they learned. Their brains are incredible. I can't function like them, and I know that's frustrating for other Japanese people, including them. Like they are. Like YD remembers. You tell him a word in English, he remembers that word. You know what I mean? You tell me a word in Japanese, I'm like sick. And literally 3 minutes later, I'm like, yo, Taji, what was that word again? And I like try to say it to him. You know what I mean? And they're incredibly intelligent and really on point. So they learned better English faster than I've learned Japanese. I know enough Japanese at this point to, even though I don't, that I know enough Japanese to talk on stage 100%. Maybe not completely as cool as the other guys can and fluent, but like I know enough to say the whole set and mostly Japanese. And I'm going to actually do that upcoming on this tour. Even though I might not use super cool words, or I might use like kind of weird words, I want to use less English up there to show that I did learn and I did try. But yeah, they have, their level of English has gone like this. So now we don't use a translator. I think sometimes it wouldn't hurt. We definitely get confused a lot.
Just like misinterpretation of what the other person's saying type thing.
Yes, and misinterpreting the way they think about emotions. See, our culture differences are actually not in so much in the language or so much in how we live. It's in how we think about everything around us. You know what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. And those are unspoken things, right? Those are not things that you bump into verbally. So you kind of always have to step on each other's toes in order to figure them out. You know what I mean?
Right. There's right.
Yeah, so sure. That's something that we had to have dealt with. You know what I mean? We so like there's so much positivity around building in Crystal Lake, which is what's great. Like if there's like a thing, we're gonna work on this until it's good. You know what I mean? Like there's not like we're not gonna destroy this and break it down. Like we work on this until it's good, and that's why the band is what it is. So like I said, the way their brains work is so unique, and they're just intelligent dudes. Makes things very interesting for so many different reasons.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to go back too much, but you said something really interesting, and I just want to know if it applies with Crystal Lake and your experience now. You said that you had this realization after the last 10 seconds and stuff that you had to find yourself, not the character on stage, not the person that you are and stuff like that. Would you say that this realization made you prepared in a different way to join Crystal Lake? Like, does that realization change the way you behave a little bit and how you are on tour now with them?
Yes. So the entire thing has helped me be more of a positive person, and we have a lot of fun together in Crystal Lake. They're not negative people at all. They might get upset about something that they want done, you know what I mean? But that's just because they demand perfection. But like, it has absolutely helped me be just a better person and feel better and, have more fun. And, I still get to let the animal out on stage, but now I understand that I work here. I don't live here, even though technically I do live at work. Like tour me is not me. Tour me is work me. You know what I mean? Home me is me. You know what I mean? I'm a dad. I'm a boyfriend. I like to cook. You know what I mean? I smoke weed and eat steak. What's good? I like movies. You know what I'm saying? But like on tour, I am at work. You know what I mean? I'm organized. I'm packing a trailer, or I'm organizing merch, or I'm cracking jokes at merch, or I'm on stage, yell. You know what I mean? I always tell people, yell at the boys and sing at the girls. You know what I mean? Like, because that's how you make the room feel vibe. So like you're constantly talking to different people all the time, and touring is an emotional squeeze it's like on and off all day, I do get overly socialized for sure. Like, and when I come home, I just chill out. But, you have to know you have to know where you start and work ends, or else it becomes like, you ever hear like in cop movies, they're like, you can't take your work home with you, Sarge. Like it's like that. You know what I mean? Like you have to know where it stops. Like when I get on the plane and I land and I'm home, you know what I mean? We're done yelling and screaming. Now we're joking, telling stories, and we're doing other stuff. You know what I mean? I might do a guest spot, or I might, do a podcast or whatever, but like, it's more of a business now. This is now more of a job. Crystal Lake is way more of a business job thing, and less of a, I'm out here with, not that they're not my bros, but like we're not just out here like ripping it like I was in other bands. You know what I'm saying? This is, everybody has a job. Everyone's job is written out. What you do exactly is bullet pointed. There's assistants for everything, and this is fine for it to be detailed like this. You know what I mean? It can be intense at times, but we're trying really hard to do our best.
I think at
it's
that
working,
a band too, I think at that level of a band too, that's sort of, not that work ethic can't be applied at a lower level too, right? But I think there does come a point where, you have more crew with you. There is, the shows are bigger. There's just more stuff, and it needs to be organized simply because there's more people involved, right?
Yeah. I mean, and sometimes there's not enough people. Sometimes you still have to, give a helping hand, and sometimes it's just up to you to get it done. Like, there's a lot of moving parts here. And it's so much detail into everything. It's very, I have schedules for projections and hopes and dreams and what's actually scheduled, and, everyone's email and full name and phone number and address. And, I never have to ask anybody for anything. That's all like put together constantly. I get updates of ticket sales like every 2 days, and I'm sending that in our group chat. Like it's forever.
But it really feels like, hearing your story, hearing everything you went through, first of all, it feels like you found your people, because you wanted serious, like, hardworking people.
Yes.
And the way you describe them, and the way you describe, it feels like you found the what you were looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's even too much for me. Sometimes they're like asking for so much. I'm like, dude, I don't know if I can do that. Like sometimes YD wants me to sing something a certain way, and I'm like, I don't know if I can even do that. And he's like, try. I'm like, it might sound like shit. He's like, it's okay. And I'm like, no, it can't sound bad. Like there's 500 people here. Cannot try. It can't sound bad. He's like, try it anyway. And I'm like, okay, we're trying it. So
yeah.
We're always pushing each other. Guy is great. Hard guy to work for, in a good way. In a good way. It's a great dude.
So they fly you out, right? Like afterwards to go like do these trial shows to kind of end off the audition.
So the first round, I actually pay for my own way. I bought my own ticket to Japan. I bought my own hotel. They helped me with food. They had donations come in that also assisted me. And the other audition people, Matt Foreman and Raphael. I don't know how to say his last name. I'm sorry. I love you, bro. We do 2 shows together. I think I spent 7 days in Japan. It was incredible. Japan is, I feel like I'm in New York City, and anybody who has talked to me knows that I miss New York, and I love New York, and I am super New York. and I talk about it all the time. And I love how Tokyo feels like Brooklyn or feels like Manhattan. Like I feel like I'm in the city. You know what I mean? Like I love that. I really, really appreciate that about it. And the food is good everywhere. And I love to eat. Like I should be a bodybuilder. I love to eat so much. It's so crazy. I should. I have no idea why I'm not. Like my band would love me to be. My girl would love it if I was, but I'm not. I'm a dad bod ass motherfucker. But like, yo, I swear to God, I want to eat everything all the time, consistently. I have food tattoos on my neck. It says Gavone on my neck, which means like, you eat like a fat fuck in like Brooklyn slang. It says Haraheta on my Instagram page. Like all my stories on my Instagram page are all food and stuff. Like I love to eat, and Japan is amazing. But those shows were fucking sick. Once we get to the shows, they're awesome. And I get a lot of positive feedback from friends in the crowd that I make when I'm there. I get to close the set, which I think played in my favor because things that I like to do are things that you do at the end of the set, like, lights up and, all that crazy moshing and stuff like that. So I got to close the set.
Rockstar shit. Yeah.
Right. That's how I felt. And I got to close the set. I felt like that was fucking sick. The second night, I didn't close the set. I played second. Right? Or did I close the set? I can't remember. I think I played second the second night. No, I closed the set, but I played different songs. And still crushed it. And they were more singy. They were more like, it was more like Apollo and all that. And I think we did Machina or Disobey that night too. We had a blast with each other. They weren't sold on everybody after that. They liked and disliked things about everyone. They didn't like how loud I was as a person. They still don't like how loud I am as a person. They tell me to be quiet all the time. I'm a very loud guy.
They're fine with you living in the U.S. still, eh?
I tell them they pay me this. I tell YD all the time, you pay me to scream, and he's like.
But is it? And I have a question for you because I really love Japanese culture, and I know it's going to be super stereotyped, but I watch tons of animes. I just love everything about Japan. Like I was looking at Japanese furniture for my place, like the super low to the. I love everything about it. So I have a question like for you. It seems so cool, and apparently there's a lot of benefits to it, like posture-wise and stuff. Like there's I was reading on that, but sorry, I'm getting I'm going to start talking for hours. But I'm curious to know. It always seemed like they're a really respectful culture, like great, respectful. Like from the outside, it always felt like wow, like the way they behave and stuff like that. Is that your impression? Not to put you on the spot. But.
Yeah, no, it is.
Assholes,
no, so I have definitely met some assholes, for damn sure. But out and about, everyone is super polite. Things are super logical, which is nice. Like, you know what I mean? Like if something doesn't make sense and something happens, they'll likely help you fix it. You know what I mean? For example, you lose your train ticket, right? But you have the receipt. In America, I feel like someone will be like, tough cookies, bro, buy another ticket. But over there, if you have the receipt, they'll be like, oh, you lost your ticket? Don't worry, we'll honor it because obviously here is the receipt that you bought it. So logical things like that really are really nice there. They're just kind people. They're really great. But their shows are sick. Our shows in Japan are some of my favorite shows to play with the band. We are constantly people are constantly jumping off stage and off of my shoulders and grabbing the microphone. And it is a heavy, heavy, heavy moshing, but no one fights, which is cool.
Better. It might be better too. I mean, fight. I know it kind of.
You don't want to fight.
It maybe sells when you say that, right? There was fight. For people from the outside, oh my god, fight. But on the other end, I feel
we're
like
talking to a
band,
New Yorker here, So
okay, maybe
I don't want anybody to get hurt. I don't want anyone to get hurt. But I get super turned on when people start throwing fists at each other. I love people who work the walls and who mosh like assholes. Don't hurt anybody. but be a dick. It's nice. It's so fun. I love it. I'm always like, I fucking love that guy.
Hardcore
I love
style.
it. It's so fun, dude. Don't hurt anybody, but mosh like an asshole. Take your shoe off and throw it. Fuck it. Let's go. You know what I mean? Don't hurt anybody. You know what I mean? Don't hurt anybody.
Okay, I can see that. It's kind of the balance of just like going crazy, but just like overdoing it and just like
yeah. Like, I'm not gonna advocate for hurting anybody, but I do love people who mosh carelessly. But I don't want anyone to get hurt. For dancing.
Are there other?
It's fair. It's fair.
Are there other, like, what other kind of differences can you maybe talk to us about in terms of how shows are in Japan versus like in the US? Like I heard, and maybe you can confirm or deny this, but I heard that like between songs, it's more of a everyone's silent type of thing. And from someone from the outside, you're kind of like, do people fucking hate us? Like, what's going on here? Like, is that a thing?
That's great for you to bring up because
that's like, yeah.
No. This was a problem for me when I first joined Crystal Lake for at least the first couple of months through the audition into being in the band, because you are used to that silence meaning something different than what it means over there. Over there, they're excited and intently listening. And if they were talking, that means they weren't interested. Over here, the complete silence means that everyone is kind of like, do something. You know what I mean? So, that it gets in your head, man. The first show I played with them was at Knotfest, like 26,000 people in this fucking stadium, and in between the songs is dead silent. You could hear a fly shit its pants in the fucking concession stands. Like, it was insane. And then what happens is once you come out on stage, it's so loud that you feel it, and you're like, oh, and then you lose your breath, and then you try the entire set not to die, and it was incredible. That was one of my favorite shows to play with them.
So is that cheering? Like,
people yelling. It's the amount of people yelling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just the amount of people yelling, like when a band starts, because everyone is there for every band. It's not so much like, below Crystal Lake. It's just that everybody is there in Japan for all the bands. They come watch everybody. You know what I mean? Like, they're there to have a good time. They're there to let loose specifically. You don't have to. You can make them get crazier, but they're there to get nuts already. You know what I mean? Like, that's their vibe, which I love.
How was doing that first show? You just talk about 26,000 people for your first show, which is an understatement as much as it was your biggest show. Absolutely,
ever. Nothing's come close to that ever. And it was nuts. It filled that entire stadium. I think the total for the day was like 26,000 people. It was nuts. You can see it on my Instagram page. It's pinned to the top of the page as Knotfest. Like, it feels endless. You know what I mean? It was incredible. I felt like I couldn't breathe. You know what I mean? I felt like I kept forgetting to wear my war face because I was just in such shock that, like, is this really happening? You know what I mean? Like, it was amazing. I feel blessed to be able to do all of this, and I want to do my best job possible. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of take to heart when people are not stoked on what I'm doing in a band, because I want to do the best job possible. And, I think it sounds cool.
Sounds like you do, actually. But the thing is, like, I'm also curious, like, walking on stage, as much as you were probably just in the moment, was that kind of the rewarding moment of just like, I made it kind of thing? I know you did some cool stuff before that, but like, you went through a lot in different bands, and walking in front of all these people, did it feel like the moment type thing?
I think I can't really say when it would feel like the moment, because this is like a series of moments of feeling like this is it,
Okay.
There was one of those in Last 10 also, and bands before that. I felt like that with All Shall Perish, with the audition thing, and shout out Eddie. I love Eddie. And like, the the Crystal Lake thing, like when I left Japan, I was pretty positive that they were going to choose me. Just based on how like the conversation went amongst everybody when I left, and how when I left we were all drinking, and when I left YD, he was like, all right, I'll text you and I'll see you again later. And that was the last time I was going to see him. And you know what I mean? We closed the door and I was like, okay. And I got to the airport and Taji dropped me off and he was like, all right, I'll see you later. And I was like, okay. And then I'm sitting down at the gate.
Maybe it's just a cultural thing.
That's what I'm thinking, right? That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, all right, maybe they just don't mean it. Maybe they just don't mean it. And then I'm sitting at the gate, and then I got a text message from YD that's like, so we haven't made a decision yet, but prepare to be gone for like 3 months at the end of this date.
Wait. I just want to point that out though. There's no way he's telling you don't for sure have the job, but prep your bags type thing. That's kind of crazy if they walk that back.
Imagine.
So I was like, okay. And then I went home and like 2 months passed. And they released some YouTube videos, and then all of a sudden I woke up to at the time my girl lived in Arizona with her parents, and I was at their house, and I woke up to an email that said, congratulations, you are the winner of the audition. Welcome to Crystal Lake. And I remember making a video about it and having to send everything in officially, and just that felt good. That felt like kind of like I felt like my middle finger was the size of like the Empire State Building. You know what I mean? Like I felt so like this because of a lot of the bullshit that I had to hear from people leaving Last 10 while in Last 10. And I got so much love and support when trying to do the Crystal Lake thing. It was beautiful. You know what I mean? I love everyone that ever gave a shit to share anything from me. So when I got that text message, I think that was probably the let's fucking go. This is amazing, And from there, I go out for 3 months with them, literally. And we go all over Asia. I go China, Taiwan, all over Japan. It's fucking insane, And thus starts my heaviest touring route ever. I leave for like 5 months after that.
Yeah.
I do that 3 months with them, and I come home for July and August. And on August 28th, I don't come back until, aside from 1 week for New Year's, I don't come back until January 28th, officially. And I'm out that entire time in Japan, in hotels, in friends, and now I stay at a friend's house. And just playing tons of shows and touring everywhere, and touring with August Burns Red, and just back to China, and all throughout Taiwan and Indonesia. And then when I come home for that, then we get busy on the album, and then we start to record the album. That is the beginning of 2024. And I start writing the album. Not officially, we start rounding off the album. And I'll tell you right now, I fucking love this album. I hope you guys love this album. This is some of the best shit I feel like I've ever put my hands on. The wordplay in the lyrics is phenomenal. The emotion and everything is super real. I am very, very, very open in the lyrics. I talk about my mom. I talk about my relationship. I talk about my anxiety. I talk about my ADHD. Like I go into the government and using, smoking too much weed all the time. Like I really am in there with these lyrics. And I break down crying writing a lot of these songs for sure, because I'm thinking so hard about what it is that I'm writing about, that it's like, it's hard and it hurts, And I want that to come across in the songs and in the music. And finally it's done, you know. And I can't say when it's going to come out yet. It's been done for my part has been done for a little bit now. We are finishing up the last finishing touches on it. And we have to get some music videos done. But they're going to talk about this real soon, and they'll give you a date about it real soon. But it is very circular musically. It is heavy as a motherfucker, and then lighter than you've ever heard us.
That's always
amazing.
That's always been the
Very
thing, right?
real.
The light and the dark, the kind of the soft and the heavy. Crystal Lake has always kind of excelled at that. I found
There's a lot of
that cool
songs
balance.
that have the same type of vibe of, like, let's say Sanctuary and like Lost and Forever. You know, there are songs that are like Mephisto and songs that are like Disobey. There are songs that are like Blood God. You know, this goes everywhere. I even write about the band, you know what I mean? Because we love to party, you know, we love to party. I call them Saki Mafia. But they're good. They're good boys. You know what I mean? They're not one of those bands that don't get their shit done. They're good boys, but like they like to have a good time. And I wrote a song about it. It's completely over the top extreme to what actually takes place in the band, but you know what I mean? But it's all my life. It's all me. I even have some of the lyrics tattooed on me already because they're shout outs. Like one song has a shout out to Misery Signals because I love Misery Signals. I love Carl. Shout out Carl. I love their music. And I have Send Me Home tattooed on my neck. And I say Send Me Home in the song that's about the music and my relationship and my life and how hard it is. And I sing it just like the way he does in Misery Signals. And I want so bad for him to do that part because it would be so sick to just have him say it like that. Like, I can't wait to show you guys this.
What's like
curious?
Oh, go for it.
Sorry, I was just about to ask, like, in terms of writing process, because you've talked about like the language change. I know you speak more Japanese now and stuff like that, but like, let's be honest here. Even with all the same language, it's a process to write music. I mean, like, it's a lot. So I can only imagine how challenging it can be, right?
Across the world too.
So
and also that, yeah.
What's great is music is its own language. And we all speak the same music language, you know. So there are definitely times where we're trying to get a certain kind of take, and it's being described as something that isn't real. Or let's say maybe we're trying to put less breaths in the middle of something, and now I have to explain that that's not how I could do it, type of thing. You know what I mean? So like, we don't have a problem. We have a different way of thinking. So we have a lot of explaining that gets done. There's no issues that really happen. We write pretty fluently together. We wrote Blood God pretty quickly. We did like 3 different versions of it. And then another version of that became a song that's on the album. And not to backtrack or anything, but this song on the album is probably the most Last 10 Crystal Lake song you're ever going to hear. And it's so violent sound too. And you're going to hear it and automatically understand like where my head is at with this. And you're either going to hate it or you're going to be like, okay, this is really cool. But, you know,
it's doing a little white line straight. It's so
it is very like that. It is very like that. Well, YD describes it as kind of like the song from Seven Dust from the Falcons, I think it is. That's what he describes it as. He's like, it kind of reminds me of that. And I was like, that's fucking sick. Let's go.
That's funny, man.
But yeah, we run into a lot of explaining and adjusting. We don't run into any issues really. So that's the cool part.
Are you guys like sending demos back and forth?
Constantly?
Like how does that work? You're talking about multiple versions and stuff. Like what's the?
Yeah. So like, So usually what will happen is YD will send me music, and then he'll give me like a little paragraph about how the song makes him feel. And then I will essentially tear into it with my own 2 cents of how I want the song to go. Like I'll make patterns and stuff like that. And then we like it or we don't. And what we don't, we continue to work on and rewrite. And sometimes he has ideas, and sometimes he'll take what I've already sent to him and maybe he'll readjust it and send it back and be like, what do you think about this? And we play with the vocals back and forth the same way you would play with like guitar parts and stuff. Sometimes the vocal patterns and the words don't make sense, but it's just for argument's sake of like, what could this sound like?
Yeah.
And we build the song together. And really, there's not many points that I could say on this album where I'm like, damn, I didn't get what I wanted. You know what I mean? We kind of saw eye to eye on all of it. Even the stuff that we went back and forth about for, let's say, an hour, which happens. You know what I mean? Like, I still love those parts. So
yeah, it's not like you're not like compromising to the point of not enjoying it. And,
no.
You guys come to an agreement that's actually an agreement on both sides.
Makes sense.
Yeah. What you're going to get out of me on this album is absolutely everything that I can possibly do. Like this
they're
is
pushing you as well, right? Like
they want new sounds now. Now we want to find new sounds. You know what I mean? So that's a lot of fun, which is a pain in the tits. So like this album is absolutely everything that I got, literally in my vocal repertoire, and like as a musician, like this is my best fucking effort. Vocally, lyrically, pattern wise, tenacity, the whole thing. Like I'm grabbing you by your collar and dragging you around. You know what I mean? Like I have a blast on this album. And I think once they announce when it's coming out, you guys will be very surprised at the people who were able to be a part of it with us. And I am very confident that people will enjoy a good hefty part of it. I love it. So fuck you if you don't, just so we're clear on this. But I love every motherfucking song on this shit.
We've been waiting for it though, because we do enjoy a
Me
good
too,
single
dog.
or 2 or 3, but man, an album. We want
My
to see
guy,
the full thing,
I am
a conceptual
so tired.
thing, or like the whole, we want to see the many facets of John on a fucking
I feel you, because I feel like I keep getting dogged by shit live recordings and shit like that. Like, and I'm tired of this bullshit. Like, I'm not trying to point down any specific festivals or anything like that, but they dogged my vocals on that mix, and I'm tight about that shit. Because I don't sound like that in my in-ears. That sounds ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, I was pissed. I woke up and I was watching that and I turned it off. I was like, sick.
Hey, at least you look good, just
I look hot as a motherfucker, but
footage
like,
and all, but
I was pissed
because people don't make the difference. That's the problem. Because if you've got, and we've talked about this before, but if you've got like a bad sound like person in charge of it, people don't think, oh, it must be the production. They're just like, oh, that singer is I just don't like his vocals type thing, right? So
I'm not trying to say it's anybody else's fault, but I will definitely.
It is. It's okay.
It's everyone else is perfectly level and perfectly sound. You can hear everything, and then my voice does this the entire time. Did we just get to mine and just be like, fuck it? Like, you leveled out everybody else. And that's within the festival mix doing that. That's not from us. Like, they fixed that to make for video. Like, so I'll go fuck myself.
Yeah. It'd be one thing if it wasn't like, if we're talking about a festival that doesn't do any metal and they don't know how to deal with screaming, but that ain't the case.
I had a great time at this festival. I hope I come back. I was just not, I'm just ready for this album to come out so that I can portray
Showcase
my work instead of fighting the live sound of your camera.
Is it difficult for you to kind of be sitting on music? You know what I mean? Like, how it sounds, you want people to hear it, and you kind of have to wait. Is it difficult for you?
Yeah, I bitch about it all the time. Everyone's trying to hear me complain about it for damn sure. They're probably watching this right now, like, yeah, dude, we know it's coming out XYZ. We told you, and I'm like, yeah, I know it is, dude. I'm just like, I want Tom 6 come out already. I'm tired of this half-ass shit. Like, fuck.
It's understandable though, because like you feel it's your best work, you know how it sounds, you just want to kind of put it out there. Like it's understandable.
Yeah, touring is hard, dude. You know what I mean? Like jumping around like a jumping jack is a pain in the ass. That shit is difficult. Like, and to be clear, I am not trying to be my old singer. I am literally trying to be myself, but I still have to match their enthusiasm into some sort of degree. You know what I mean? So like it has to go up all the time. I'm trying to push it more and more and more and more and more. And that wreaks havoc on your cardio, regardless of how much cardio you do, unless I'm in this motherfucker running every day, like,
I mean, hey,
well,
how bad do you want it? You talked about becoming a bodybuilder, all this. Hey, come on.
Yeah.
I feel that.
So
I'm about to do it. Just eat like crazy and lift weights in my room, not take care of my daughter, not pay attention to my girl, and not write music and just lift weights.
Look, what I understood from this entire conversation, what I got from this entire conversation is if someone tells you something, you're going to do the opposite. You're going to prove them wrong. So I'm going to tell you, you will never be in great shape. You will never be jumping. Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
You want to.
I did lose a ton of weight when I first came back from COVID. Me and Wyatt both lost a shit ton of weight. I've kind of been battling to keep it, level the whole time. It's a pain in the ass because we eat so good all the time. Like there's just duck and lamb readily available constantly, and like delicious ramen and gyoza and chahan and just pork belly all the time.
And we're talking real ramen, like just to make like the best probably. So.
Yes, keep the kata ramen forever. Please endorse me. Thank you very much. I really will. I will tattoo keep the kata ramen on my neck. I swear to God, I love it there.
Oh, you got some space right up front there.
Sponsored, but
I would love it right here. Keep the kata ramen.
There you go. But yeah, no, but seriously, and I cannot emphasize that enough. There's a very big difference between real ramen and people just being like, oh, I hate that. I bought that. No, real ramen. It's one of the best things like
absolutely.
Ever. Like
so I'll be, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, because it seems like you've understand what we're talking about here. So like the problem with ramen shops is they do not understand that good ramen is simple. And it does it on its own. Ramen that is full of all this extra shit and all this seasoning, that's great. I'm sure it's delicious, but that is not ramen. That is too much, way too much.
Overcompensating.
Yes, you're compensating for something. Exactly. Like barbecue with too much sauce. You know what I mean? Like you're compensating. And you're supposed to add sauce afterwards, dip with sauce. You know what I mean? Like you can use the smoke to your advantage. Good cuts of meat are you know what I mean? Like stop. Like, good ramen is super good. Like YD brings me to really good places to eat, and all of his ramen spots are serious. We love ramen in Crystal Lake. That's our favorite food. We eat ramen constantly. We eat a ton of ramen. We eat a ton of Chinese food. We eat lots of gyoza. I eat a lot of core sushi. They don't, but I really love core sushi. Like, is conveyor belt sushi. They don't want to do it.
You're eating well, man. You're eating well.
And then top it all off with a fair load of sake to top it all off.
Yeah. And then when you're in Europe, like there's just duck and lamb super cheap everywhere all the time. And it's delicious. You know what I mean?
I'm
like
so hungry right now as we're
that's
talking.
what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like I'm out here, dog. You mean like how to head up? Dude. I mean, Metro, how to head up?
I don't know about you, but just talking about it, like I kind of like now I'm extremely like I want to eat.
Yo, after this, go to my Instagram. Anybody who's listening, if you go to my Instagram and you look at like my highlight stories, you'll notice there's like plates of food. Go get hungry. You see what I'm fucking with. You'll see what I mean. Like it's hard.
Cry a little bit though, because I'm gonna
so like exactly. If I did lift weights, it would be great because the way I eat is like that. You know what I mean? Like I have to constantly tell myself like, oh, I can't eat that. I have to like chill out. Especially when I'm in America. American food is harder on me. When I'm in Europe and I'm in Japan, not only am I moving so much, but the food is of a different quality. I'll put it like that. And your body processes it better, different, and you can eat more and just. As long as you're not eating like a monster, so to speak, like Cheerios and all that, you know, and Oreos and all, you kind of just like level out weight wise, you know. It's when I come home and then I think I can eat like that here that fucks me. It's literally true. Like when I came home, so my daughter was just born in November, right? And when I came home for like 3 months. So between having the baby and then being back in America and not paying attention to eating, I definitely gained like 15 pounds, right? So I come back to tour and we had a meeting about how much weight I had gained. We were like, yo, you got fat, your windbreak is tight. They were like, you look fat from the windbreaker is tight from the back, dog. You need to lose some weight. And I was like, well, all right, I'll wear the windbreaker. I'll sweat it out every night on stage. And people were like, aren't you hot in that windbreaker? I'm like, I'm dying. I'm trying to sweat it out for this motherfucker. Like,
it was in the contract. It was in the contract. You had to stay between this and this.
You're
supposed
to weigh as much as this Diet Coke can. You know what I mean? Like,
that wasn't the deal. That wasn't the deal.
You know, it's and it's true. I do hope that in the coming months that I can get better in shape and find the motivation to get a part of it and not be so and not make excuses. Going on this tour in America, my friend Eric DiCarlo is the drummer of Face Yourself, and he's kind of a gym rat, and I'm hoping he can drag me along with him because I just need to snap into a routine. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what it is. I know how to eat healthy. I'm not eating McDonald's and bread and processed food and all this shit all the time. Like, I eat relatively healthy. So I just need to break into a routine just to stay consistent, you know, because being on stage the way I'm on stage is, you know, half the battle, in my opinion, you know.
For sure.
So I'm all for people getting healthy and bettering their lives. Like, you know, YD's doing push-ups and sit-ups after the set.
That's crazy. that's uncalled for. That means he didn't move enough.
You know what I mean? Like, it's uncalled for. Exactly, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's a hard worker, you know? They'll all do stuff like that. Like, I load the trailer because of this, and it might be heavy shit, but I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I'm loading the trailer. I carry stuff that's heavy all the time. I want it to be, you know, I don't like stuff to defeat me because I used to be a moving guy. So I kind of have the lift bug already. Like, when I go to pick something up, if it's too heavy, I'm like, nah, it's not okay. And I like lift it up. I'm a relatively strong person. You know, I have it in me. I have a wider frame to do it. Just, I need to get on that shit, which I should, because my girl really wants to start working out again. Cause she at once upon a time was a bodybuilding champion in her youth. Not like she's old, but you know, so like, let's, you know, I would love to get back into that
going on.
If I may, I want to end on this. If I may, honestly, it's not for everybody, but fasting can be a game changer too. You know what I mean? Like, it's really good. Like, I'm really bad at gaining weight. I'm extremely good at losing weight, apparently. So like, but fasting seriously feels so great, because once your body gets in the state of fasting, you've got more energy. And then when you eat, you're just more in the moment. It's weird to explain, and it does wonders for like losing weight and stuff.
I actually do it a lot in Japan, because when I'm in Japan, I don't smoke any weed because you go to jail, and I smoke heavily. Yeah. So when I'm there, I don't. So my appetite is half the amount, and when I eat a lot less, right? And then I will only probably eat once a day. You know what I mean? And it's the same time every day, you know? And then you're adding exercise into that, being at the show, sweating to death. And, you know, you could just gradually build a good routine from that, you know. I definitely got reckless having my kid. I got so lazy about it. Like, I should have been cooking. And
I think that's a common thing.
Well, yeah. Like, to be fair though, like, it's far from being easy. Like, as much as it's the most beautiful thing in the world, it's still exhausting. So there's that, you know.
Yeah. So. Shout out to my girlfriend dealing with what she deals with. Like, it is definitely exhausting. And she does a lot of it without me sometimes. She's a monster. You know,
she sounds like a boss, honestly. Like, she's,
she know is. What I mean? Saved me.
I mean, organized, a great mom. You know what I mean?
She's
holding it down.
She was part of the she was part of those people that I mentioned that made me feel like I was worth it,
Mm-hmm.
and I could leave last 10 and I could be better. Meeting her made me feel like I wanted to be positive. That really, when you meet somebody that makes you want to be positive, it'll change what you're thinking about and how you think about things, you know?
She's part of your success, basically. You know what I mean? Like she's part of like
Yeah.
we're
Don't
a
want to hear you
team
say
through
that.
it. But no, okay.
I'll cut this out. I'll cut this
Cut
out.
that part. Cut that part. Cut that part. It's all on you. She has nothing to do with it.
She's like, I told you. She'll come in here, kick open the door. Like,
I'm sorry in advance.
no, it's good. It's true. It's true. So like, I think good people behind you, good people that believe in you always help. I did a lot of believing in myself, and sometimes you need that little extra push.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for everyone that believes in me, and I'm grateful for people that don't believe in me. You make me want to show you different, because I actually don't hate people that are like, let's say people watch my live videos, right, and they're bummed about how I sound. I don't hate you because you say something like you missed the other singer or you don't like me. I'm bummed that I wasn't able to perform enough to make you hear what I really can do. That's what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I wanna have fun with you. You know,
all positive, basically.
This is fun. Yeah, it is all positive. Like, I know I play an angry fuck. I might look like an angry fuck. You know what I mean? But like, it actually is all positivity. I'm just trying to get you all riled up to mosh. You know what I mean? So,
and
that,
fight without being injured.
Yeah. Don't hurt anybody, but march like an asshole, like DK Strain says. If you want to be a dickhead, it's okay.
Fight respectfully, or fight responsibly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, dude, thank you so much for taking the time to do this, man. This fucking flew by, man. But I'd want to.
This was great,
dude. Had a blast. Honestly,
we had a blast, man. This was fucking dope. But I want to at least give you a chance to talk about what's coming up. What you got coming in the pipeline? What can people check out?
Anything can be, even outside of music, any project, anything really.
So I recently did a guest spot with Face Yourself. That'll come out soon, I think. We have these Japanese dates coming up with Satanic Festival, and they've got a couple of these Japanese dates with Throne. So we'll see our boys again. So that's going to be sick. After that, we come to America for that American tour with Victims, Face Yourself, and Not Enough Space, which is going to be incredible because a lot of those people are my friends and they're doing great in music. From there, we go to Europe to play a ton of festivals, lots of Germany dates. Many of the dates we play with like bands like Attila and Angel Maker and stuff like that. So those are all of my friends. So that'll be really great. I'm really excited for that. But yeah, the festival dates are going to be sick. And then I come home and I think there's other shows that are happening at the end of the year, but I'm not sure they're announced yet. So I can't exactly yap on them, but you know, I'll be cooking and creaming and ripping and tearing, as I like to say.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, a lot to look forward to. You know, we mentioned the album, the eventual album as well. So
yes, it is.
We'll be on the lookout for that. And yeah.
Yes, it is so fucking happening. Believe me. Like we've worked really hard on it, and the time it's taken to get it done is not for that. It's not that we're constantly tweaking songs. Actually, like the songs relatively don't get touched. It's actually making sure that like, did we get the guest spot that we won for this? Did that solo do what it wants? But like the vocals and the song are done. We're not touching them and doing this for 2 years, just so everyone understands. Like we're just finishing the bells and whistles. Like the songs are done.
2 years wouldn't have been a long time, anyways. Just to be clear, I know.
Yeah,
I know
maybe it's like a year and a half at this point, but like it's long. Feels like 3 years.
Look, I rather a band take their time than go into the studio after having been on tour, completely fucking burnt out, no time to write. They go into the studio with no songs and they write them on the spot. You know, we hear these stories all the time. So
that was every last show.
Whatever time it takes, man, I'm here for it.
Word. Yeah. I hope it's worth the nut. I think you guys will fucking love it.
Well, I'm intrigued now, though. Like, honestly,
I I wish I could just give some of it away because it's so sick. I promise you, it's a full circle. We do everything. Everything. All music that exists is on that shit. It's sick.
Everything you can do, like all your best, everything you could do is on it basically, and even more. Maybe.
Completely possible. Yeah. I couldn't even think of something else that I can do that's not on this. Like,
hell yeah,
tell
dude.
me so I can tell them that I thought of something that I can do that's new.
Yeah, I'll have some notes. I'll have some notes for you once I listen to the album. Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, dude, thank you so much again, and we'll keep in touch, man. This was awesome, man.
It was awesome,
Absolutely.
We'll have to reconvene at some point, man. We'll have plenty more to talk about. Sure. I'm sure, my man.
Sure. Thank you, guys. It was awesome. I'll see you guys later.
All right. Dude. Peace out, man.
Take it easy.
If you made it to the end of this episode, thank you for watching. And hey, while you're here, hit that subscribe or follow button and a review. If you're watching or listening on a podcast platform, it would mean the world and it helps out more than you know. A big thank you as well to all of our supporters over on Patreon and on Twitch. New episodes every week, links to our Patreon, Discord, and socials in the description. We'll see you soon. We're out.